Welcome to the Day Clean Devotion Queen podcast. Each week, our podcast episodes breathe life into selected themes from the DDQ Meditation Journal. Hosted by our founder, Najma Thomas, we engage in heartfelt discussions with a diverse roster of inspirational Queen sisters. We explore their unique perspectives, uncover the wisdoms shaped by their journeys, and celebrate the trials and victories along the way. Together, we are creating a woe manifestation space where conversation meets examination and sparks transformation.
Sit with Grandma.
Welcome. We are back with another wonderful edition, another wonderful episode of our mother, daughter, granddaughter series. I am here at the home of the Batsons, and I'm just so delighted that we're able to join this wonderful group. And thank y'all for tuning into the podcast again. Welcome to the DDQ community. So I want to start, ladies. I'm going to start with just some brief introductions. Let us know your name, age, and a little bit about what you got going on, either your role or your work or your purpose in life, all of the things, okay? So we're going to start with the matriarch, Miss Liz.
Okay. You need my whole name?
Well, you don't have to give me your
My name's Liz. I'm almost 70 years old. I'm retired, a widow, and I am loving my family.
All right. That's a beautiful role.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Welcome, Miss Liz.
Thank you.
I'm Leyla. I'm a student at SCAD for film, and right now I'm in the finals trenches, but I'm still here.
Look at that dedication. Thank you. Everybody point to the co-ed queen. Give her good energy for finals. It's going to go exceptionally well now. And
I'm Dorneisha with Dorneisha Batson, and I'm 43. Yeah, 43. I have to check
I'm not telling you my age.
Jason.
As you know, I'm an artist and a fashion designer. And as you can see, I have a toddler.
Come
hello,
here.
toddler.
JC.
There's the toddler. We love it. Okay. So my first question for this special series, I wanna ask you all, like, how would you describe, Dorneisha, I'm gonna start with you. How would you describe your mother in one word?
Resilient.
Beautiful. How would you describe your daughter in one word? Pregnant silence.
I want to say creative, but she's just so many different layers.
Also, you go with layered.
Yeah, layered.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's me.
That. That's going to be a new hashtag, layered Leyla. Leyla, how would you describe your mom in one word?
Supportive.
Oh, so sweet. And how would you describe your grandma in one word?
I would want to use the same word that Ma used. Resilient. Because, like, she can do it all. And she's still just little Lizzie.
Little Lizzie. Love it. Love it. And Miss Liz, same question for you.
My daughter first?
Yes, ma'am.
Creative. Okay. And my granddaughter? Challenging.
Grandma! Everyone loves a challenge.
Wow.
I do, but she is challenging.
Playing with me on the podcast.
Hey. Grandmas tell the truth and no chaser. Okay, that's why we love grandmas. Okay, all right. I want to get into your origin stories. I want to learn a little bit more about like where you come from childhood. So I'm gonna start again with you, Miss Liz. What is a story from your childhood or early motherhood, if you want to, that you want your daughter and your granddaughter to know about?
Well, I got to go to childhood
Go ahead.
because I had a great grandmother, and they have heard many stories about her. But for someone to have been born back in the 1800s,
Yes.
and she died when I was 9, but she always taught me as a child that I was just as good as anyone else. There was no one better. And that God made us all. It didn't matter how much money or education you had. God made us all, and we were all the same. We all put on our clothes the same way, and we all going to die same way. But the idea is that God loves us, and we never let anybody look down on us and act like they're more than we are.
And you got that from
my great grandmother.
Your great grandmother was born in the 1800s.
Yes.
And where do you think she got that from, given the context of the times?
I know. I guess when it came to her mother and just the way that she was raised, and they always seemed like they just always made a way. It's like they said people were in poverty and stuff like that, but I guess that's not something that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, we just went and just enjoyed life, and she always wanted to make sure we were safe. Mm-hmm. It's just like people dealing with alligators now. First thing I learned about alligators was you never run in a straight line if they're chasing you. Curve it.
That's something for all of us to know. Put that in our pocket. For y'all out there podcast, we're gonna survive. Never run in the straight line. Okay, all right.
So it's like growing up, she taught us, a lot. To say that, she died when I was 9 years old, and she was always there, and she was a praying lady. She loved to pray, and she loved to take her time and to teach us. And I always remember going to the store, the little stores around here, and the white guys would always think they're going to put their finger on the scale to make her have to pay more money. While he was putting his finger on the scale, she was giving us some of his candy. Say, eat this before you Yes.
We like that justice. So was that here? Was that Buffalo?
That was here.
That's here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We lived right down the road.
Okay, so your origin story is here in Beaufort County.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Let me go over to Miss Dorneisha. Miss Dorneisha, what's the story you want your daughter to know, or an experience from early motherhood that you want to share?
Oh, early motherhood?
Either or childhood or early motherhood.
Oh, for my well, I don't know if she's heard so much, but like because I've always taught her I wanted her to learn from my experiences and not from the street. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to, good, bad things don't be repeated. So I don't know, my origins starts in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Growing up there with family and all the different things we've been through there, good and bad. Like I have so many positive memories there, but I also have bad memories of, uncles being on drugs and having to survive that, not let that get into me, but make sure that I didn't want to go through those experiences. Yeah. So I didn't put that in her. I've seen the aspects how drugs change people, and we was talking about even the alcoholism. Yes. So those are things I've told her stories, and she's like, I never heard this story before. I'm like, please. When I was little, they would be high and coming there acting up, and I used to climb the tree and hide. And my grandmother had this big, huge tree with these big pink flowers, and I remember just hiding up there until like the sun, got dark, and they'll be screaming and hollering, "Wait, Dorneisha, Mente, where y'all at?" Like,
I'm sorry, Mente?
Mente is my cousin. We grew up.
I thought I heard a nickname. I was like,
it's Lil Mente, but we, were tight, like 9 months apart, so I took care of him, Yeah. But that was my role. We fought hard, but we loved hard, and when uncles and drama came, we hid together. So I would tell her all the time, like, I used to be so afraid, and we would just hide there until, we felt like everything calmed down. So I taught her a lot of that because I wanted to make sure that she watched her back and don't go down that path that I went through growing up through my origins. But like that, those elements, like, shape your life. Yes. So, yeah. Absolutely. And then, like, I tell her, like, thank God we did break a lot of chains and stuff for her. So she didn't have to, go through a lot of the things we did. But I'm like, you also, not as my grandmother say, y'all young people are, what she say, weaker? What's her say? Y'all are smarter.
Weaker, but wiser. They're usually, the Bible kind of tells you that they smart. They know a lot more than we did at their age, but yet they're weaker because they can't handle the things that we handle.
Yeah, my grandma there, Mary, she always said, she's like, y'all young children are weak. Like, y'all are smart. Y'all know things, but y'all weak. And so I would tell her, like, you don't have the street smarts. You don't have to go through, like, the hustle, bustle, the traumas and stuff we went through. So you got to be a little more careful of how you, navigate. Use your head more on how you navigate than how we had to, like, kind of work a little bit backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Which we want that for our young people, right? We want them to not have to do the hustling and to have to go through some of the hard things.
Have to do the repair work. And so those are lessons that I taught her, Yeah.
Let's hear from the co-ed queen. Tell us, what are some of the stories from your grandma, from your mom, that stick with you? You're in a transition period right now. This is first year in college. You're away from home. What's really resonating with you now that you learned from these ladies?
Stuff from Ma is always like, especially hearing her stories from being like this age or even younger than me. She was living quite free. And in this economy, I can't really do the same, but I was able to learn those lessons really fast to be like, probably don't do that, but not like I really can anyway because of the way that Gen Z lives, kind of, which is really different. And then grandma, I learned like a lot of the more spiritual stuff from grandma, and because
out to the people.
Oh, in fact, yeah. So, I can be a bit of a online activist for a lot of the times, and I feel like that majorly comes from grandma.
Majorly.
Because you went through
the 60s and the 70s.
And rode with the Black Panthers, although she didn't join, but she used to be at those rallies.
I was there.
Now I read the literature that was made.
You can say my grandma.
I'm like, yeah, my grandma was probably watching that.
Stokely Carmichael and Bobby Seale, all of them. I would go to the rallies.
Oh my goodness.
And we were just talking yesterday, and I was like, Leyla is more like fight the power with you, like fighting for the broad scope, her and but me and my dad, I'm more like him. Like, we fought for people, but we fought for people that's directly in front of us. Like, but them, the collective, they want to fight for. Yes. And we just like, oh, you need help, me and my dad. No, we got you.
And global.
Yes.
We love it. Let's get into some conversations you never had. I want to ask you, what's something you've always wanted to tell your mother, but you never said? Let's start with the co-ed queen. Something you always wanted to tell your mom, but you never had it. Maybe the opportunity just didn't present itself.
We're so close. I feel like I say like literally everything. But like I would just like outwardly appreciate you more, because I always just be like nonchalant, like, you know, I love you, Mom. Like, it's fine. Like, whatever. But, like, going to the broader scope of, like, how much I really appreciate my mom. And, like, some of these mothers are terrifying. They're not seeing how some of these kids have been raised.
You come back
It's nightmarish. It's nightmarish how these kids were brought up. So
you feeling a sense of deep gratitude.
I mean, like, Mom, these kids are bad.
Thank you, Mama. Yeah, thank you so much. No, seriously.
But like conversation and story wise, I feel like I tell her most of everything. Like some like minuscule things, like from early childhood and stuff, like would just kind of pop up. Like at the concert, we were running late to the Kendrick and SZA concert. I was quite. That's not hers.
Oh,
It's fine.
Yeah. And we were going on the escalator, and then coming back, I was like, oh, I was so ready. I was like so hyped up to get there, even though we were missing songs or whatever, that I forgot about my fear of the escalator.
I know that she had the fear, but I never knew where it came from because, like, the way I raised
behave, JC.
no fear. Like, I'm like, I always stay calm so that she would stay calm. Like, getting shots or different things. I know people be shot. I'll stay calm so she won't get scared.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I know that you always, like, hesitate when you go on the escalator. Where did that even come from? This is us running, coming through the concert, doing all that hustle and bustle. And then go ahead.
So when I feel like I was about maybe 5 or 6, I was wearing my little jelly sandals. I know, yes, the little jelly sandals, man. Childhood. But yeah, I was 5 or 6. And my jelly sandal got caught in the escalator, and I was stuck in it. And I was fighting for my life trying to get it out. It's not funny. It's not funny. So then finally, it was like I was on the ground, and the escalator was like kind of taking me. It was about to take me, and then I was finally able to yank my jelly slide out, and it was chewed up.
So where was your mom?
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't.
Oh,
She was with.
Yeah.
Double trauma.
Oh, because I know she wouldn't have let that happen.
My jelly sandal was torn up. So then now, ever since then, I stall a little bit getting onto the escalator. And like, I didn't realize, I never told her that my jelly sandal got stuck.
You didn't tell us a lot of things.
No, she said he told her not to.
Yeah.
Since it wasn't anything major.
But he didn't help.
No, I was fighting for my life against an escalator.
That
JC.
makes sense. You see? Okay.
He taking her coat.
Let's talk about some other things we never discussed. What do you wish you understood about your mom sooner, Dorneisha? What's something you wish you understood about your mom sooner?
Growing up, I wish I understood her trauma, even though I know she, waited to tell me when I was older and she felt that I could handle it. But I would have understood why she was such, like, strong disciplinarian. Like, I thought she was a mean old lady. I was daddy girl, and that was a mean woman, okay? So, if I had understood that, I would have gave her more grace. And once I got older and she did share, stuff that she experienced growing up, then we ended up becoming like, that's my dog right there. That's my best friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, me and her got very close. And I was like, oh, so now I understand. Yeah.
Miss Liz, what's something you wish you had known or understood about your daughter sooner?
Lord. I guess why she was kind of stubborn, and it just took me a while to realize, why she was stubborn. I guess I had some of that, and I know my husband did, and wanted to do things your own way, because when she was little, it did not matter if I went and bought her these shoes. No, I don't like those. I want these shoes. And it took a while to realize, and now that she has her and him and they're doing the same thing.
And
you're
is
sitting back going,
And it's like, really?
and
How
is.
can a 2-year-old knows he doesn't want that? He's not going to wear it. And that's what she would do.
That boy started at like 6 months.
She would I would buy her clothes, and I thought they were really cute. And certain shoes, no, she didn't want it. It took me a while to understand, that artistic.
That was that creativity coming out. That was that.
Yes. It was there. And it's like, she used to put red and pink together. And me and her dad is like, no, it don't go together.
They said I look like a clown. I told you about that last time. They said, you ain't going nowhere with us. You know how we go to the DC area. You ain't going nowhere with us.
But now everything.
She had.
Yes. But she was doing this when she was a little girl. So it took a while to get used to, especially with her dad, and most of the Batsons are pretty artistic people when it comes to getting out, and they can do a little bit of everything, put their mind to it.
Yeah.
But it just took a while to realize that she was this type of person.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what I say. She had her mind made up, and she was stubborn. Like this one.
Uh-oh.
Why am I catching strays?
Layla, you're catching them.
I'm catching strays.
I'm all the way over here. I can't even run interference. I'm going to give you this question, though. How have you seen their relationship evolve over the years?
They bicker a lot. But I also bicker with the both of them a lot. And that is how I can see the most that I'm really a reflection of both of them. Mm-hmm. But when I was a kid, like a young kid, I don't know. I always they were best friends, but they would bicker more than they do now. If it seems like now, sometimes they just have their like little moments where Ma would just be irritated with grandma, and like I'll be on her side some of them times because
a lot of the time.
Because grandma, because sometimes our elders, they miss it sometimes, and that's okay. And then Ma will get irritated with it, and I'll be like, yeah, Ma, she was tripping a little bit. It's okay.
They do. They
I'm not
do.
Gonna let them do it.
Yes.
But she got her bestie over here.
They do.
Her little broke bestie, 2-year-old. When me and Leyla jump her, he get us both. He be like, go home, Mama. That's his best friend right there.
We love it. Okay. Let's talk about, and Dorneisha, you referenced this a little bit around breaking chains.
Sit, Jason.
I want to talk about generational blessings and breakthroughs. What do you think your family line has passed down that is a blessing? I'm going to start with you, Dorneisha. What are the blessings that have been passed down?
I think for me, especially with my life path, it was a thing of you got to get your own. Mm-hmm. So I come from a line on both sides of my family, even though like my mother and my father, they, went in the military and they held down a 9-to-5, like hard 9-to-5, working for the post office and stuff. Yes. My dad's dad, he, was a builder or whatever. And my granddad, my mom's dad down here, he was a mason and basically worked for himself. Yep, and laid the foundation, never get rid of it. This is my granddad's here. But they showed me the passion of entrepreneurship and okay, if they don't want to give you a job, forget them. Create your own. Do it. What are you good at? And I can't remember my dad's father that much. They said he adored me, but he passed when I was 2, right? 2 or 3. And so I can't physically remember, but I just know the stories and know how they said he was a hard worker, fishing, and I did everything to feed and provide for their families, which they had huge families to provide for. But that heritage, that blessing, they passed, and I feel like all that's in me is us.
Miss Liz.
Yes.
What do you think are the blessings that were passed down?
I guess a lot, like she says, they taught me how to go ahead and to work hard, to believe that I can do it if I put my mind to it.
Yes.
It's like when it came to my children, I believed in education, and I was always taught that there was nobody better than me. I'm not dumb, and I could do what I put my mind to do it. And it's like I went ahead and I would teach them that in my way. When they went to school, I did not accept C's because they were not average children. And I always taught them, you are above average. So your grades that you get need to be above average.
Need to be a reflection. Huh?
Yes, I will accept maybe a B minus, but I know you can do better.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how I kind of pushed them, that they could always do better and be better than me. But you have to decide and not just sit down and say that it's okay, because that's what I was taught. I looked at my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, and they always were striving. My great-grandfather was farming everywhere, and they did for people, and that's what you have to learn. You can get together and work and help others, but you always go ahead and you make sure that you're taking care. My great-grandfather did a lot for a lot of people around here. Give them land for little or nothing. Make sure that they had a place to stay. Make sure that they were taken care of, along with him taking care. He farmed all of this area. And as he farmed and he got the vegetable, what was too much for the family, he shared. What he could do to help, he helped. And that's what I learned. And I was talking to my son, and I told him, I said, sometimes I felt like I did not do everything that I needed to do. But I always remember that God gave me this desire for children, to help children. And I always remember that when I was growing up, I said, I'm going to get me this big house with this fence around it. I'm going to put some wild panthers, some black panthers outside, so nobody can come in and bother them. And all these kids that have nobody to love, I'm going to take care of them and let them know I got enough love for all of them.
The Black Panther house.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful image. I'm not going to go back to the grades because I know we're in final exam season. And so we're not going to be putting the pressure on the co-ed queen.
The pressure's already there. The pressure's already there. But thank you.
But, see, I'm proud of her because she learned early to excel, not to just sit there and to do less. And even when she had her moments and didn't want to do anything, her mom was right there pushing. We were pushing. You got to do better. Got to do better.
Absolutely.
And she learned.
So was her market on
Yes.
every Saturday.
Yes.
Let me ask you though, Leyla. So you hear that? Yeah, that's my new thing. I think I might drop the co-ed queen and go with Leyla.
Oh,
okay. Let me try that on.
Right.
I want you to. So you're hearing all these conversations about the blessings across generations. Tell us a moment that made you feel deeply connected to the generations in your family that came before.
With Ma, especially like with the Mother series, like it really opened up all of the stories. Like, oh yeah, like we get this trait from this mother, we get this trait from this one right here, and things like that. And like always, like a painting of a family member will always be a talking point, kind of. So that's how I was able to like really know the stories of everything that they did, and like how giving they were, or driven, creative, stuff like that, that I feel like I got. And also when they do my hair too, because like everybody, like, because I had never gone to a hairdresser, and like it's only ever been like mothers that's been in my hair. So
that's a beautiful thing, because you know energy is transferred. Okay, we're coming to the wrap up, y'all. We're coming to the wrap up. Let me ask. That was kind of you answered a piece of my third to last question, which was, what's a shared ritual or activity that brings all three generations together? So that braiding of the hair, the doing of the hair, that's a ritual. What's something else, Dorneisha? What are some activities that bring all of y'all together across generations?
Bacon.
Yes. Yum yum cake.
It's like anything with, like, as far as, like I told you, with my gramps, she always cooked with me. My aunts, they always would come over. Everybody had this special name, like, come in, Niecy. Like, my family up there, they call me Niecy. And they were like, I want you to come spend this weekend with me. And then we would bake. Like, one aunt was good at, she was my godmom. She was good at potato salad, and she knew I love crab, so she would get crab and get my big sister, my cousin, I call her big sister, and we would get over there and we'd be in the kitchen together. And another aunt, she knew about spaghetti, like different things, and they would show me different, we would get in there and do that. Then what's so funny is that's like with the women. But with my grandfather, there's a pastor here, Leroy Ferguson, he used to make his own wine and liquor. Yes. And so as a little kid, I used to be like, he'd be like, he called me Doe or Oak for Oprah. He said I had all the news. Oh my God. So he would go and he would show me how you make your own wine. He had the cherry trees, and we'll
so you can make cherry wine.
Well, I don't know if I remember now, but he used to make sure that he would teach me, and even how to make vodka and gin, like all those different things. Yes. He was like, "No, let me tell you how you do this, because you can't trust everybody's milk." Like right there. So it was like, those things. We shared those memories, and I would tell her, like, yeah, we used to do this, and Granddad would teach me. Can you believe that? Like, but it's always something with those elements and sharing what we created. My grandmother used to jar the fresh veggies and all that, and I was a little kid, Gramps that baked with, and she would share it with the community. Everybody, how about I got the jarred stuff, and so.
Do y'all still do a little bit of that now? Have you
not jarring, but baking.
But the baking, definitely with the baking.
Yes, definitely with the baking.
Okay. All right. I want to ask Miss Liz, you about dreams. What dreams do you have for your daughter and your granddaughter that they don't even know about yet?
I want them to grow and to be the type of women that knows who God is, but is always willing to get out there and to give a helping hand when it needs to. It's just like I was talking about her and the socks. She knew the homeless man did not have socks, so she bought a pack and put it in her car, and when she ran into him, she gave the socks. She would do what she can for others, and then I have my daughter. She would do the same thing. Her whole thing was to get into fashions, and she was going to make clothes, and then she was going to share with the people who didn't have, and all the rest of this type of stuff, She forgot. She forgot. Yeah.
To build a whole home. I always said I wanted to do fashion. I'm a cosmetologist as well, so I wanted to get people off the street, give them an apartment, help them, teach them how to interview for jobs, give them a complete makeover. Yeah, that was.
I didn't even know that because
my brother did blueprints, so he designed it for me. I got the designs, but like life. Forget about that life, like things don't go as fast as you think. But that was my goal. I wanted a whole center that helps everything from the top and the bottom.
I think I stole that out your brain. I think I stole that because ever since I knew that I wanted to be a millionaire, net worth, right? So I want my net worth to be $1 million. When I hit $1 million, I'm just gonna buy a bunch of properties and rent them out to people for $50 and stuff like that, so they can say they have their own place or whatever, but I can be their landlord. I can still check up on them, make sure everything's cool with them and stuff like that, to be able to like give nicer things to people that actually need it, instead of like, I don't want to have a lot of money for greed. I want to have a lot of money so I can buy a bunch of properties and be a nice landlord to people that need that and need things to be cheap and efficient and stuff like that.
Yes. Do you see how that came?
It did.
Osmosis. This dream is coming from you, and it's coming from you, and it's manifesting. Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay. Last question. One word of wisdom or encouragement you want her to carry always. Dorneisha, one word of wisdom you want your daughter to carry always. It can be a phrase.
Just
she has
maintain your path. Stay in your path. Like, don't give up, you know? Well, I guess eyes on the prize.
Oh, Miss Liz, one word of wisdom for your daughter and your granddaughter.
They have to learn to trust God. Once they learn to trust God, they'll learn to stay calm, to stop and think, and to move in the right direction. But if they don't learn how to trust God, that you got somebody that loves you and will take care of you if you trust. It was an issue for me. I had to learn how to do this. I'm still learning. We're all learning. But if they can just get this one used to get so hyper and upset, and she would, anything that happened, and she would just lose it. But after I started the last time and we started talking, and I told her, instead of you getting upset when we can't help you because we're not there, if you would just say, God, help me, and trust him to help you, calm down, and it would work out. And she started doing this. When she got pulled over, she didn't call hysterical and saying, Mom!
And podcast, y'all been pulled over. Don't act like you ain't been pulled over.
First of all, it wasn't a crash out scenario because immediately the guy was cool. Yeah, was I shaking in that seat? Of course I was. but I wasn't gonna call and crash out because first of all, they already told me to slow down like 10 minutes before that happened. So I had to be like, y'all, I'm getting pulled over. Just as a
yes.
I gave him my insurance card to send on registration, but he didn't need it anyway.
Look at the Lord working it out for you.
I don't know the difference.
See?
I'm going to let you have the last word for our younger listeners and viewers. What is one thing you would, if they didn't take anything else away from this conversation, what's one action you would recommend that they take after listening to this podcast episode?
1, lock in. 2, if you have a good mother or good parents, listen to them. If they're a little shaky, please don't. I'm sorry. There's a lot of children learning bad habits from their parents, and then they carry it on to college, and then they're terrible people to their classmates.
But that's real though.
Yeah,
that's really real. And
so,
we like to pretend like it's always all good. Like, oh, my mom, but there are some bad habits you can pick up from the people you love, right? That's so essential. We're gonna close on that. Keep the good, leave the not so good.
Of course.
Yes. It has been a pleasure to join you in your beautiful home, your museum.
Yes.
And to share these stories with you. Thank you so much. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Day Clean Devotion Queen podcast. We appreciate you. If this episode blessed your bones, and we know it did, don't keep it to yourself. Sharing is caring. So share with your network. And until next time, we want to tell you to have a fabulous remainder of your week. And we'll see you next week, everyone. Say bye.
Bye.